Hello, I'm Sanjay Pulipaka. Welcome to the latest edition of Global Perspectives. The United States and Iran have signed a memorandum of understanding. US President has signed it today in France, and it has been released for public. Many governments across the world have welcomed the MOU between United States and Iran, including India, and there is hope and anticipation that this memorandum of understanding will result in long-term peace in the region. There are many positive points and also few points which require clarification in the Memorandum of Understanding. It should be noted that the Memorandum of Understanding states that the United States and Iran are committing to negotiating and achieving a final peace deal in the coming 60 days. So, this Memorandum of Understanding is not the final deal. The final deal will come after further negotiation of 60 days between Iran and the United States. There are a few other important points which need to be noted. First, it states that the United States and Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war are signing the MOU. So while the agreement, the memorandum of understanding is between United States and Iran, they are signing on behalf of their allies. Interestingly, who those allies are and what is the expected actions out of them has not been clearly specified. Of course, the MOU states that this cessation of hostilities extends to Lebanon as well. But it would be interesting to see how the word allies is understood and defined by each of the partners to this MOU in the coming weeks and months. Interestingly, the Memorandum of Understanding states that United States and Iran will respect each other's territorial integrity, sovereignty, and will refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. Does this mean that United States will not advocate for democracy in Iran? Does this also mean that United States will not call out or call for gender rights? Perhaps we will see how United States responds on this issue in the coming weeks and months. The most important aspect for many developing countries and emerging economies is the provisions pertaining to the Straits of Hormuz. The Memorandum of Understanding clearly states that once the Memorandum of Understanding is signed, the Straits of Hormuz will be opened, the US will lift its blockade, and Iran will facilitate movement of vessels without any charge for a period of 60 days only. What happens after 60 days is something that needs to be looked at. The MOU states that Iran, along with Oman, will discuss future administration and maritime services in the Straits of Hormuz. Does this mean that there will be a toll that will be levied on ships that are transiting Straits of Hormuz? It is interesting that these lines do not talk about specific levy of toll or collecting fee from the Straits of Hormuz, but it only talks about administration and maritime services. What does that imply? The provision also states that this administration and maritime services will be in line with international law. But international law does not provide for collection of fee unless it is a man-made canal like Suez Canal. The MOU also states that the United States, along with its regional partners, undertakes to develop a definitive, mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of Islamic Republic of Iran. The mechanism for implementation of this plan will be finalized in 60 days. I'm sure there is going to be a lot of debate within Iran as to what reconstruction and economic development implies. Because does reconstruction and economic development imply building up of scientific capacities of Iran? And if so, where do you draw the boundaries pertaining to scientific development? The most important provision pertains to the nuclear weapons program of Iran, where Iran has accepted that it will not only develop but will also refrain from procuring nuclear weapons. And so, on the issue of enriched uranium and how to deal with it, that is something that has been left to the final peace deal. The United States has also committed that it would lift all sanctions on Iran upon the full implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding. The MOU provides for an executive mechanism to address and to monitor and oversee the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding, I think, which is a welcome development because there will be a lot of miscommunication that may crop up on the implementation of the MOU, and the mechanism to address and to facilitate proper implementation of MOU is a welcome step. The MOU also states that the final peace deal will be endorsed through United Nations Security Council resolution. There have been demands if both parties agree that UN should also be involved in this whole process. And this final point addresses this concerns. A UN Security Council resolution implies that all five permanent members should vote on the final resolution, which makes United Nations an important player in the final peace deal. Let us hope and pray that this memorandum of understanding will be implemented in letter and spirit, and in the process, such implementation takes into account the concerns, the fears, and also legitimate expectations of all the parties in the region. This MOU is one of the components that is required, along with host of other agreements and other processes to facilitate peace in the Middle East.